Okay, hi everyone. This is podcast number 3, and today we have 4 persons. We will do the introductions. Wenceslaus, beginning with you.
Hi guys, it's me, Wenceslaus, and it's nice to see you guys again. I'm currently working in a non-profit organization working with youths in the area of esports. So I create programs that engages youths to explore more of the esports industry.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe you want to explain a little why you are faceless. What kind of
Oh.
surgery are you hiding?
Yeah. Currently I'm short on one eye, and no. But I'm having some technical issues with my camera and my mic. So today I am without a video.
Oh, okay. Okay, John, you.
Okay, my name is Jonathan. I'm currently working in an e-commerce platform. So we sell Korean products that we bring in to local Singaporeans. So I am in charge of content creation. So what I do is I make, for example, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of these contents and advertisements.
Oh, okay. You are
quite
no
fun.
longer with the travel agency.
No, I actually moved from in January. No, in July, mid-July, around there.
Okay. Wow.
Mm.
Thank you, John. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah.
It's a
Hey,
pleasure.
Ash.
Hi, I'm Eshton. So I run my own sustainable fashion business. I used to work as a content designer also before I started my own
Yeah, I was
my
like
own
looking at
label
both
and
of
my own
you.
brand. Yeah. So very similar background. Yeah. So I'm very much in the creative realm, I guess,
Mm.
of running businesses and content side of things lah. Yeah.
Mm. Hey, did you bring your good morning pouch here?
I did. I prepped
Okay.
it.
Okay, tell us quickly about it. Wow, okay.
So I did an NDP special a while back, and then we basically reused old Good Morning pouches with
Okay.
like recycled canvas, and then created pouches from it
Right.
in typical true Singaporean fashion.
So how many how many new stock have you guys created?
We're doing it as made to order lah, so that we don't overstock it, and then
Right.
Mm.
we don't make without people wanting it and wasting the
Okay.
materials.
Okay. Free ad. Okay, hi, I'm Stanley, and I was a former school teacher. Now I tutor English, and actually I do a lot more counseling nowadays. Yep, that's all. Let's begin off with a quiz. Okay, just a yes no answer very quickly. Do you play games on electronic devices? Wenceslaus.
Yes, I play
John.
on many devices.
Okay. Yes or no? That's enough for now.
Okay.
That's good. John.
Yes.
Okay. Ash.
A tiny yes.
Okay. For me, yes. Okay. Question 2. Gaming keeps the blues away. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Ash? No. For me, I would say yes. Okay. Number 3. Listen carefully. Free for 1 week, a Michelin star meal, or a chance to game on a top-end gaming PC or console for 1 week. Which would you prefer? A Michelin star meal for a week, or a chance to game on a top-end gaming PC or console for 1 week? When's?
Gaming on a top-end console for 1 week.
John, be honest, okay?
Yeah, me too. Gaming on a top-end PC.
Oh, okay. And you, Ash?
Definitely my Michelin star meal.
Yeah, I'll go for the food as well, okay? Yeah, okay. 4th question. No gaming, no life. Yes or no?
No.
No gaming, no life. Sorry, Wentz?
No.
No. Disagree, yes.
If I say yes means I agree with it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No gaming, no life. Okay.
Yes.
Ash? No. All right.
Mm.
I'll go for no. Okay. Okay. Number 5. Go on a date or cozy up to a hot new release game. Like this is like a trending hot new release. Okay. It's a now or never choice. Would you go on a date or would you like, hey, stay at home and play this hot new release title?
Go on a date. Of course. Wow.
Hey, non-judgmental responses. Okay, don't judge.
Does it have to be a new game? Or can it be a
It's like
current
a
game
hot
I'm
new
playing?
release. Anything. Yeah.
Like
Okay.
favorite game maybe.
Okay, stay at home.
Okay.
I'm out on a date.
Sorry, you are out
I'll
on
be
a
out
date.
on a
Okay. Right. I don't game nowadays very much, so I'll go out on a date, or I'll stay home for the date. I think that's even better. Okay. Okay. Number 6. Name one game you play and the platform you use. It
Valorant
could be
on
recently. It
PC.
could be. Sorry.
Valorant on PC.
Valorant. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Mine is
Yes.
Tree of Savior on PC.
Wow, I never heard
Ooh,
before.
Tree of Savior. That's a interesting game.
Yeah.
Is that
Elaborate on
role
it.
playing? Okay. What's that? Role playing
It's a
games or?
Yeah.
MMORPG.
Okay, RPG. And yours, John?
No,
Is it
Oh,
mine
RPG?
is a FPS. Sorry, mine Valorant is a FPS, first person shooter.
Yeah.
John, you can.
yeah, mine is MMORPG.
Well, I'm
That
totally
stands
confused.
for.
I
That
don't know
stands
the
for.
MMO.
Okay,
something.
multi-mess role playing game.
Yeah.
Multi-mess player
Okay.
role playing game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ash,
Um, it's gonna sound damn lame, but
doesn't
I think
matter.
the last game I played was on mobile, and it was called Louis the Game, and it was made by LV.
So what kind of game is that?
It was just like basically it's I don't even know what it's called lah, but you gotta jump around and like collect like candles
Oh,
and stuff.
shucks. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
so
I accidentally tapped on my screen. Yeah.
yeah, so basically it was just a game where I jump around, collect candles, and then basically it gives you a chance to win a LV NFT
For real?
Oh.
LV?
for real, which is why I played
Wow.
it.
Hey, wow, this kind of game's quite worth it. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you believe that the last game I played, I cannot remember the name. Is this where you're chased by HOTS, very popular last time?
L4D.
Left 4 Dead.
Yes, Left 4 Dead on PC. Sorry, I love zombies, so or anything first person shooter. I have no patience for RPG. Yeah. Okay. Gaming is addictive. Yes or no?
Yes.
Whence? Yes. John,
Yes.
Ash,
No.
no. Wow. I say a resounding yes. Okay. Next question. Describe a memorable gaming experience. Okay, it can be anything,
Oh.
Okay, a memorable gaming experience. It can anything.
A memorable gaming experience.
Yes.
Ah.
Describe briefly lah.
Can you give an example? What would constitute a memorable gaming experience?
Whether you could be describing this game that you have tried out. It could be an experience with a group of friends. It could be
Okay. There is
something
this game
positive or
called
negative lah, whichever
yeah.
comes to your mind.
There is this game called Destiny. So in Destiny,
Yeah.
you have to go on what they call dungeon raids. So it's just called raids, right?
Yeah.
On weekends, there's a total of 6 of us. We will actually meet on a Saturday, and I was in NS, so we'll meet on a Saturday because half of the party is in America. So we will start the raid at 9 a.m. and sometimes the raid might last 6 hours long because it's a new raid and we don't know the way to actually complete it. So we'll keep figuring out, and at different checkpoints we'll sit down, strategize, and try and beat the raid. So it takes up 6 hours every week to get that random loot that we might or might not get the best weapon in the game. So that was memorable.
Wow, you're playing with people from US as well.
Yeah, so I think 2 of them was in the US. Was I don't know whether you guys know them, but I think you taught them before. Is SA boys. So he
Don't
went.
name it.
Yeah. So a bunch of us we will meet up on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, cause that's the mutual timing.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's really awesome. Good times. John, what about
Yeah.
you? Describe a memorable
Mine,
gaming experience.
mine's also quite similar. It's boss raids, so it's actually quite recent. There was a new patch, and then they released new bosses. So we were trying out this the latest raid, and then I think it took about 3 days for us, like we repeatedly playing the same raid over and over to try and understand the boss gimmicks, trying to form our team composition. And then we will also use Discord to like voice chat, and then we will play, and then we will raid, and then get each other to do different roles. So we finally managed to clear it last Sunday, so it felt really good.
Wow. What game was this again?
This is a Tree of Savior.
Okay, Tree of Savior, the one that you named just now, right?
Yeah.
FPS, right?
No, it's not. It's MMORPG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. How long do you spend playing this game?
So every day I work 8 hours. I play about 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you get enough sleep, I hope.
Yeah, enough sleep.
Okay, Ash,
I
a
play
memorable
FIFA
gaming
with
experience.
play FIFA with my brother-in-law who lives in US.
Oh, wow.
We play across.
So, what time are you looking at?
Late
Locally.
here, early there, like 11 plus 12. Yeah,
Wow.
around there. Yeah,
And this is
but nothing like mind-blowing lah. But it was
and
fun.
here, and your nephew or niece is already born, right?
Yeah,
And he has time to game.
yes.
Wow,
Yes.
sorry, man. Work-life balance. Okay, game-life balance, whatever.
Game life balance.
Okay, my most memorable gaming experience would be in a LAN cafe. This is like donkey years ago. Okay, guess who introduced me to a LAN cafe?
Probably some SA boy.
Students.
Yeah, it was my students, my ex-students. So they brought me to a LAN. So for me, I was just very curious. I want to see the situation because they always look very seedy and dark from outside, right? So
Yeah, like
they brought me there, and then we tried, of course, Left 4 Dead, right? Well, I was hooked, man. I was hooked. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was memorable because, yeah. Damn.
He was
Okay,
actually on a
let's move
mission
on.
to scout out for the school, whether the guys are doing their homework or going to the cafe after school.
That one we can't say lah. That's a secret. Okay, name one person who will stop you from gaming.
My mom.
Your mom. Why?
Cause she I don't know, she thinks that I game too much. Yeah. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
And
just
how
my
does
mom,
she
actually.
stop you? Okay, so you gotta answer that. This sub questions are all of us. How will she stop you?
Just pull off the plug.
Oh,
That's the
Has
worst.
she ever
my
done that?
goodness. Oh, that's the
Yeah,
worst.
just pull off the plug. Oof.
Oh my god. Has she ever done that?
Wow.
Yeah, actually, it's. Oh, sorry, the one who pulled off the plug. Actually, it's not my mom. It was my grandma.
Wow.
Cause my
See,
room
lah.
my room has only one switch, and that time I invited my best friend over to play Call of Duty, and I think we were
Okay.
playing until quite late. And then cause my grandma don't like people to come over to her house, so I was like, wait, let me finish this with him first. And then she's like, stop it. Then she just turned off the switch, and I'm like, oops, that's it. The whole room just like shut down. Oh, okay, well.
I hope that the laptop didn't crash, man. And that's it.
Ooh.
Okay, John, name one person who will stop you from gaming. And
Last time when I was
how and
younger,
why,
it was mostly my mom. But right now, nobody really stops me. Yeah.
so how
Just
would your mom stop you last time?
well, last time my mom to get me to like do homework or study, she will like take the whole cable and then she will hide it.
She'll
Yeah.
hide it while you're in school, lah.
Yeah. And then when I
Okay.
come back, I cannot even play. Then she's not at home, so I'm just stuck at home, nothing to do.
Okay. And there's like no homework. This is
Yeah.
like many years down the road, right? Can't you just do
Yeah.
your homework anyway?
Yeah, lor.
Okay, Ash. Present
Uh,
or in the past? Okay, who will stop you from gaming?
I don't think I've ever reached a point where anybody did. So, like my parents didn't. They never were at a point where they were like, "Hey, you should stop gaming," because I don't game that much. So
Yeah.
that's really why lah. Yeah.
Okay. Similar. In the past, I used to game on on the console for hours on end, but no one stopped me. Yeah, as long as I can function the next day, whether I was working or studying, I'm good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's jump into the article. Today, our podcast is actually based on this article about China, China's moves to impose gaming restrictions among youth for the second time. Do you agree on with China's moves to restrict gaming among the youth?
Um,
Free.
for me, right, I don't. The thing is, I don't disagree, and I to me, it's if the government has to take such drastic
Your mom will be
actions.
so proud of you.
It's not like they totally ban gaming. You see, they still allow you 3 hours, and perhaps they have enough studies to show that there's a bunch of people that is uncontrollable and they needed to control it. It is drastic for the countries outside of China, right? Because we are like, oh, freedom, and we get to do whatever we want. Who are you, the government, to control it? But I don't think I can disagree with them because they feel they must have done their research to have made such a decision. Yeah.
Okay, John.
Hmm. I agree with the action, but I disagree with the age. Because under 18 is kind of old, right? To be restricted to play only 3 hours a week. Yeah, so that's just my own opinion. Like I feel that maybe until
Okay.
12, 3 hours per week would be good because that's the time where, you develop the most in terms of like your creativity. And if you're only at home playing games, and that would actually like stunt that. But then like when you're like 14, 15, 16, that's the time, or at least like during my time, that was the time where we all, after school we go play LAN together and everything. And then to be restricted for 3 hours, I feel that that's kind of drastic. But I do agree that the government probably has its own reasons for doing this. It does make sense, but 18 years old is like it feels a little drastic for me lah. 3 hours a week.
Okay. So your age limit should be 12 lah.
Yeah,
You ban those. You restrict those who are 12 and below.
yeah.
Okay. Ashton.
Pretty much agree with everyone else about how I do think it's a right move. Like, not a right move lah per se, but like it's definitely a calculated move by the government. If it has reached a point where they're taking note of it and they're getting involved, then although yes, China usually takes a very like totalitarian style of putting things down, but the fact that they're going like, okay, we need to get involved now, shows that it's probably a really huge issue lah, I would say, where it's affecting the general population. So I do get why they're doing it. I don't. Okay, if I were to live in that environment, I would be a bit taken aback, even though let's say I don't even give that much lah to begin with. But then having that ability to choose when and where you want to game
Precisely.
is
Yeah.
a very important factor lah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you brought a point because their restrictions is very, very, very like, it's like you can only play on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? On
Yep.
Mondays to Thursdays, no gaming at all. Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, 1 hour per day, and it's only at a very fixed timing,
Yeah,
8
I think
to
it was
9
8 to
p.m.
9.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with that because I think it's too draconian. You think Singapore government is strict. I mean, it comes as no surprise that China will, respond in this manner and towards its tech industries and then towards its celebrities and now youth gaming. I think it's too extreme. I totally disagree. Okay, before I state my reasons, what are the underlying assumptions behind this ban? What do you
Uh,
think? The Chinese government is worried about, or what do they see happening?
Actually, I'd like to touch on this a bit more because I think I was
Mm,
reading a bit more on the article.
mm,
I do understand that it's online gaming which they are actually taking the ban into account, and not just gaming in particular. I read somewhere also that because you have to log in online,
yep.
so and I think China have some sort of identification system where you need that identification
And
system to actually log into the game. So
Yep, yep.
that is how they are able to control the people that are allowed to play from a certain time. If not, it's actually not controllable, because if I play I play within the constraints of my own home, no one knows. If it's just a game. But if you're playing an online game though, then you kind of need to log in with your credentials and things like that. And in China, from my understanding also, certain games are banned in China, so you actually can't play. From my understanding, the Steam store is not available in China. Certain games are not available in China. So all these games, one thing that we mentioned earlier on is draconian rule over its people, and that China has been able to control all this nitty gritty. And the thing is that the headlines so far that we see are very westernized headlines and from Western media that I realize, and it paints a image of China being as such. Yeah, so I'm just breaking it down lah. I think these are the facts that other people actually don't realize. The more minute facts.
Okay. John, anything you add?
I think that it is a good thing that like your real identity is being tagged onto the online platform. Like for example, in Korea is also like your NRIC together with your phone number is tagged whenever you sign up for an account. This is also to prevent like people from creating multiple accounts and things like that lah. And then another
John lived
reason,
for a few years in Korea. Give
yeah.
us the background, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. So I lived for a few years in Korea. So everything is actually tagged to your phone number and your NRIC. So like for example, you have your credit card, you have your phone number, you have any accounts that you can create. For example, like Shopee, Lazada, the alternative that is in Korea, like Gmarket. When you sign up for an account, it's all linked to your phone number and your NRIC. So usually everybody only has one account. Then to circle back to the question just now, you mentioned, Stanley, like why like what are some assumptions as to why this is happening? I feel that the introduction of esports could also be like one of the reasons why this is happening. Like, you know, I would say that in China it's pretty competitive, or at least any Asian society. So when like there's some kind of a sports or academia that is happening, people will push their children to, you know, like work extra hard to try and excel in that thing. And then if academia doesn't work, they go to sports. And then if sports also doesn't work, then there's esports, right? For people who show a flair in gaming,
Yeah.
then parents will naturally push their children to do it, and then they will be playing multiple hours per day without focusing on studies at all. So I think this
Yeah.
may be one of the reasons why the government is like stepping in to curb this kind of thing.
Okay, just to interrupt you a little, when you mentioned like esports training schools or something like that, actually I watched a video somewhere like a couple of years back, for I think undergrads, if they discover that they have this flair for gaming, right, you can actually attend schools in China to train to compete. They are legit schools. Like I'm not sure if it's like they even it's a degree or something. Yeah, they train you. Okay, you can just search Google for it. I mean YouTube. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So now they are maybe they allow the older ones. Yeah, they allow the older ones to play, right? It's the
Mm.
younger ones who are 18 and below that they're trying to curb these bad habits. Okay, sorry. Ashton, what are some underlying assumptions?
Just to add on to our part about the article, the ban is on mobile gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just gaming in general. So I would say it's a very particular realm of gaming that I think they're targeting. And that also ties back to like how I think in the same way China also very much uses like a one app system or one overarching body system of all their apps
Yeah.
and payment systems as well. So
Yeah.
likely to me, seeing it from like a digital perspective, they see a very obvious trend of possibly either uncontrollable gaming or maybe slight addiction to it, and they're trying to curb that situation in the way they deem best, which is using this route of maintaining the hours that you're allowed to play on it, especially if you're below a certain age.
I think maybe it's beyond the hours as well, right? Since it's just more online mobile gaming. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't play mobile gaming at all, but I understand that with any mobile games, you can purchase this, purchase that, and in
Definitely.
China, this fascination with you know expending money on games is really hardcore. I mean, compare even to the online sales. I mean, I've seen videos where people sell things online, or people just give talks online, or and then then the fans will like pay buy coins or buy gifts to pay this individual, right? I think it's the same with gaming. I think they are probably afraid that these young people get addicted to spending hordes and hordes of money on top of spending hours gaming away. And they
Mm.
might just spend away their entire family's fortunes. This is just very much exaggeration, but okay. For me, I think the underlying assumption is pretty common in all countries that no adult is able to control these kids. The failure of the adults to control these kids, which means, I mean, looking at the parents. I mean, where are the parents, man? Why is it the parents cannot restrict or control their children from gaming, and to the extent that the government has to step in to enforce this draconian law? I mean, okay, let's just imagine if Singapore does it here. What do you think will happen? Do you think
VPN.
it can even happen in Singapore?
I mean, they did raise the smoking age.
Okay,
So
okay.
to a certain extent, it's not something that won't happen.
No, I'm referring to the out of control situation with regards to use of electronic devices by our kids in Singapore. You see, and so much so that one day the government decide, hey, hello, okay, the parents are not doing their job, so we must step in now.
I actually think that there's a possibility, like there are a few times where I go to restaurants and then I see, for example, like kids, like really, really young kids, maybe about 4, 5, 6, when they make a lot of noise, like parents just pass them an iPad and then they either start watching videos or they start playing games and then they keep quiet and keep to themselves. So I think it could be an issue where, like along the years as the younger people start getting used to all these electronics and games and devices from a very young age, then the chances of being addicted to it is even higher, right? Because it's something that you can do anytime, like you can play it anytime wherever you are. It's always on your mobile, as opposed to, for example, if you want to go out with friends, you have to go out to meet them, or you have to
Right.
actually go and do something else. But your mobile is always with you, and you can always play it anytime. The chances of getting addicted is much higher, lah. I would say.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Have you all been in like coffee shops where you see this family walk in, sit down on this table? The first thing that happens is the parents dish out 5 handphones to be distributed to all the kids. And then you look, hey, there's a pram there. Even the kid in the pram gets a mobile set to watch whatever, yeah. So what's the real issue here?
I think it's a very bad reinforcing behavior.
Yeah. Do you agree that this? I mean, do you agree with this scenario? Do you agree with parents who? Wens, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm internalizing
Okay.
everything.
Yeah, Wens, tell us, you first. Do you agree that with parents who, just pop a electronic device in the face of kids the moment they sit down in an eatery?
Definitely not. I think there were studies to show that such kids will be less smart. I don't want to put it. I don't want to put it in a more crude way, but they will be
Less smart.
less
Okay.
smart. It's also because I realize that these kids, right? They are a lot more spoiled. The behavior is a lot harder to control. That's because at that young age. So okay, so aside from this, right? This semester I'm actually learning about from birth to adolescence. So there's this module about that.
Psychology.
Yeah. Of birth to
Early
adolescence, and at that young age, they are still trying to learn how to make logic of things around them. So lights constantly feeding them, it is a way that they'll start to learn and think that it's a normal thing, to get experiences from that. So it's also in the book Brave New World, right, where they use lights to sensitize the kid to different emotions. So I actually think it's terrible to expose children to digital media at a very young age, even television. You have to control it to a certain extent, but even television is very bad, because all these screen time feeds the child in a way that's unorganic from actual biological growth lah. That's how I feel about it. So I really detest this giving of screens to kids.
Okay. Ash,
I do
would
agree
you
with
would
you.
would you tell a relative off if you see it happening? Say your
Why tell a relative of if I'm very close to them, yes, but if I'm not that
if you
close
are
to them,
seated
I
at the
will
same
lah.
table, you know.
You do whatever you want.
Oh,
No,
really?
but
Okay.
so my no, okay, I do feel that generally I don't get involved with people's parenting styles unless I feel it's really uncalled for. Then okay lah, then I will say something lah.
Okay.
But my sister, I mean, I have a nephew.
Yeah.
He does have screen time, but his screen time is only for educational games. So we're talking games like your motor skills, your mathematics, things like that, and that's
Okay.
only for a short period of time. And most of the time he doesn't play on like the iPad or whatever lah. But when he does, then it's those kind of games. Then I do think it does make sense, because you're still playing to the developmental phase of it. And as your kid goes along, right, if they're going into schools, we are moving into a digital realm and that kind of things lah. There's no way we can fight that. You go to school, your other kids will also be on their phones or whatever. So if you have a kid that is completely blocked off from that world, right, it will be very hard for them to develop as an equal also with those that are already aware of it. And then they might build that form of like rebellion in a sense where, only when I'm with my friends I get to see these kind of things. So at home, like I'm just gonna hide it away. So I do think there's a balance to it, and it's very hard to completely cut it out, especially moving forward. But there must be a reasoning for us to do it lah. So like I think an educational way might be a very good way to do it if we want to have screen time for kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I'm just drawing out points that you guys have mentioned. So, I mean, we kind of agree that it's not a good idea to use digital toys to to occupy kids when they are at the dining table. I think, in my opinion, as an educator, I mean, when you dine together with kids, that's the best time to connect with your kids. And if you use digital devices, the cold, hardcore cold object to while the kids time away, when we can use this time to just chit chat the kid. I think it's really poor parenting. Yeah, it's very irresponsible parenting, because I think you are exposing young kids at too young an age to electronic devices. And I mean, worse still, right? It's not only will the parent be handing over these devices to kids to keep them occupied, they too will be glued to their own screens, right? Right?
Yeah.
You expose kids so young to these images, fast-moving images, and then the parents also don't set a good role model. So will it surprise you that China did what they did? So the lying assumption is the adults are doing it anyway, and the kids are doing it anyway. So bo pian lor. So the government must now come down really hard on families. That's really gotten out of control, and it's really not uncommon in Singapore at all. I mean, on the other hand, how much screen time is, good screen time? Okay, I don't know any of you, but I'm always like very particular about parents being role model, I'm glad, Ashton, you brought up the fact that we cannot run away from this digital landscape, right? So okay, what does the global gaming landscape look like, or what does the Singapore gaming landscape look like? What do you know is what's happening in the gaming industry that we cannot run away from? Let's just focus on the gaming landscape globally and in Singapore. Okay, Wenceslaus, you're in the industry, right? Tell us what is something that bo bei zhao one, a horse cannot run.
I think we just look at the consumption of digital media first. I just submitted an assignment yesterday, and that has to do with the digital media. Uh,
Hey, lecturer, pay
during
attention.
during COVID, the amount of screen time globally has doubled because of the lockdown.
Okay.
The average screen time per person before COVID was 3 hours. This is
Per
by
day.
per day. This is
Okay.
Nelson Index, by Nelson Index.
Right.
After the COVID pandemic has happened, the average screen time now is actually 6 hours and 59 minutes, which is actually 7 hours on average.
Right.
There are definitely outliers, that's for sure. But this screen time definitely includes the hours you are working on your computer and stuff like that. But the one that I saw was consumption of television, of shows. And
Right.
that is one thing that we cannot run away from. Another trend to take note of is the increase in mobile gaming. And mobile gaming is, in the Southeast Asian market, is the largest market. Look at Indonesia, look at Philippines. Your top games are mobile games. That is why Shopee, for one, is making lots of money. The C Group is making lots of money through its gaming arm that is doing this game called Free Fire. In Singapore, the gaming landscape is a mixed bag. The casual gamers are mainly made out of mobile gamers, but because we are somewhat a first world country and all of us have computers, the second biggest platform is actually PC gaming, and then your consoles. So just looking at this, there's actually been a shift of increase in mobile gamers because they calculated together with the casual gamers. So then again, the question is, are we looking at the competitive landscape, or are we just looking at the casual landscape? But for this topic, we'll just look at casual gaming because that affects all of us. And the thing about it is, we really can't escape because that device is in everyone's hand. Would I say that gaming is bad? I wouldn't say that gaming is bad. I do think that moderation is important, and it's not taking away the device that will do our use good, but educating them on having discipline and setting up frameworks and structures for them would do them better in life, because then they will know how to set up their own structure in other areas of their life.
So boundaries lah.
Yeah.
There must be an age. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. John, your thoughts?
Yes.
I mean,
I think that at least in Singapore, it is pretty okay. Like at least in my group of friends, I would say maybe like 2 out of 5 game, and then the rest, have like other types of hobbies. So I still feel that it's not that bad in terms of if you talk about casual gaming, it's also not that bad. Like I have some friends who totally don't play games at all on their phones, and then their other hobbies are like sports, and then exercising, or even like watching television. But in terms of gaming, I still think it's not that bad. I do have friends who are like me, who are like playing multiple hours per day, and then like reducing like social contact with like other people outside. But then I think that it's still pretty okay in terms of Singapore. Maybe globally, like in places like Indonesia and Thailand, in Philippines, the gaming landscape really became very big. Like just to give you an example, like in the current game that I'm playing, like maybe a close to less than 4% of the entire player base is from Singapore, and it also contributes that our population is small in itself, lah. But then to find a Singaporean on an online game is actually not as easy, and then most people are like speaking Bahasa, they're speaking Thai, yeah.
Oh, okay. Ash, what are your thoughts?
But I don't know much about the gaming industry, nor am I
Okay,
an avid gamer. But
right.
I would think that in terms of Singapore, like what Wen said, I do think mobile gaming is the most is the lowest point of entry ultimately, which is why it's the
Mhm.
easiest to get into. And looking at the ads landscape, the advertising landscape, if you go to town nowadays, you see ads. Recently you would see ads for like Maple Story Mobile, for example. Back in my time, Maple Story was PC purely but he's made such a good comeback with his mobile game that it's having ads everywhere. So I do think mobile gaming is a huge thing in Singapore.
Right,
And that's probably where we'll be moving forward from in terms
right.
of the gaming scene here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can I add in on that? So I think one other game that made a lot of impact is this game called Genshin Impact. Pun intended. But
I
that
must be the only
that
one who has never heard of this. Okay, go on, go on.
yeah, that that
Explain to
that
me.
that game is one of those that has cross-platform capabilities.
What kind of game is that?
It's MMO. I would consider it as a MMORPG also.
Right,
Yeah, but it's a gacha game. So
right.
gacha gaming, it's the machine back then where you put in a coin and get a capsule out of it. It
Yeah.
essentially has the same mechanism as that. So you're supposed to put in credits, in-game currency, or actual money for in-game currency to get the character you want. And every time you pull that slot machine, you might not even get that character.
So it's a
So
physical slot machine or is it a
no,
cyber?
it's a cyber
Virtual.
Okay.
cyber pool. It's a
It's
cyber
like choosing
draw.
a random character lah. You
Yes.
don't get to play a fixed character, but it's all random.
Yeah, so it's by a percentage you get, and that's how they rake in
Mm.
money. And um, you know why slot
Ah,
machines
okay.
do so well? It's because they give you that hope that, oh, I only need to put $1 to get that 1 million, and with that
Yeah,
same
so it's easy,
mechanism,
right?
they do it in games. Yeah, so that's why they're doing so well also.
It's like playing a
Mm.
slot machine already. You know what I mean? The kids are just
Yeah.
playing the slot machine. Okay, just try your luck, man. Okay, every time take out $1, $2, just pull.
Yeah.
And
They don't really feel it also
random
because
character
it's
turns out.
yeah,
Huh?
they don't really feel it also because it's online.
Yeah.
Credit card. They don't see the money going away.
So when the kids play this game, is there some like mechanism for payment? Where do they get the money to pay this?
Like a credit card.
Yeah, the credit card, or can they just go 7-Eleven and buy credits?
That also works.
Really? Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
you can buy Google credits, you can buy what have you, like PS station credits from
Then got
7-Eleven,
Steam.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if this
Mm.
works for that game that Wenceslaus just named.
Yep. They
Okay,
are able to.
okay. So I read this last month that this headline, 8th of July, right? Singapore largest esports experience center opens at Kallang Wave Mall. I'm quite sure Wenceslaus, are you familiar with this?
Yeah, actually, the owners for that are our vendors for one of our programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this esports center it's a training ground for esports competitors, right? And they want to centralize all training in this place at Kallang Wave. This is where we're heading, and I think it's a good thing because esports. So this is what I mean by the terrain. What's the gaming terrain like? Esports is it an Olympic recognized game or is it just no? It's
Okay,
not recognized in
so
Olympics, right?
esports is currently a medal event in the SEA Games.
Okay, Sea Games. Oh, that I didn't know. Okay, yeah,
It is still trying to get its way into the Olympics, but
right. Okay.
whether that is a sport itself, I think that's an entirely different topic by itself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Yep.
that the the topic on whether gaming can be a career and all this is also another topic by itself. So there's a lot of lures. I think we're touching on a very multifaceted topic here.
Of course.
It's a bit
Yeah.
tricky to step on also, because
Yeah.
within the landscape, it's a very small landscape which has a few organizations that yeah, it's tricky lah. It's tricky. I can't really share too much here.
No, you just have to
Yeah.
share what. This is we're looking at the issue of China imposing restrictions on the young, and that's a micro issue, right? The young player on his mobile platform playing, not Maple Story. I don't know what they're playing, and China sees it as walao, cannot lah. So we will just give the kids 3 hours per week. But where are his sources of influences? It is so we can look at the macro picture. Besides the immediate influence parents cannot control, we must look at esports. The e-commerce situation is huge. You know, these Chinese kids, adults, they grow up in an e-commerce culture, a culture that's so steeped in easy access to pay. I mean, you can just use the WhatsApp to pay for everything. You can use, WhatsApp to pay for your games and stuff as well. So it's very accessible, and it's like, then you look at esports. Esports is a huge thing in China, am I right? Right? So I think the macro does have a heavy influence on the micro, the kid. And China realizes this. They have been, like you guys, one of you shared, right? Valve is banned in China, right? But that's okay. The Chinese have their own games, and their market is so huge to support their own domestic games. So you don't have to worry about the Western games. That's why I see where Singapore is going. If Singapore is building this, has already built this esports experience center, it is formally recognizing esports as a legit competitive game, where they will send players. Singapore has already started sending players, right? Whether is it funded by the government? Is it funded by the government?
Very minimally, very
Very minimally.
Actually, the government doesn't give that much funds to this.
Okay.
Yeah, most of
But
them
now
are
the government.
self-funded.
Okay, but now the government has built this facility, Wow.
Actually, I'll just add in on that lah.
Yeah.
The actual fact that the government is jumping in on this is, I discussed in the previous podcast before on this is that they recognize esports as a money generating medium. So more than recognizing it as a sport itself and for its positive benefits, they're actually looking at it from an economic standpoint. The reason why they are willing to push all of this is because they want that moolah, they want that money to come in and flow into Singapore. And why they are able to put such a stance, I still think it's a very superficial level lah. It's not as noble as the government believes in our youth aspirations to be competitive gamers. Because in all honesty, right, you're not gonna be a competitive gamer.
Lose your job for saying that.
Yeah. As in, I mean, our job is to educate the youth also, right? And
don't worry, I know you're a CEO.
Yeah, and we kind of just educate them that it is not that realistic for you to have gaming as a career, because gaming is just such a volatile industry itself. Games can just snap and disappear in one day. There has been competitive games where the publisher is like, okay, I had enough of this, I'm gonna shut it down in a month's time, and the competitive players have nowhere to go. So it's quite tricky lah. That's why it's but in terms of, I mean, bringing back to culture and influence, it is starting to become something very mainstream. And that's why perhaps the government is taking in China is realizing that it could be a potential threat, because it is us, right, that grew up gaming, that is treating it as acceptable. And what more our kids in the future, because we tell them it's totally fine, we will support you in your ambitions and stuff like that. And then that generation, you'll have probably from age 5 to age 60 that says that gaming is not that bad, as compared to now, where everybody's adverse to gaming because gaming is this demon in the television that captures our kids.
I'm not I don't oppose gaming. In fact, I'm for gaming, right? And I agree with Eshton and your that we cannot escape this influx of games that is popping up in all facets of life. In a shopping platform, on besides the direct consoles and games you buy, but I'm concerned about the role modeling of adults, right? I'm concerned about how young these kids are when they are exposed to screen time and excessive screen time. And like it or not this exposure at such a young age to screen time, be it even educational, apps or anything. When parents use electronic devices to babysit their kids when they should be connecting with these kids. Given that Singaporean parents, I mean, you read in just recent reports that Singapore is an overworked, adults are overworked. We are not having enough babies, and what have you. And yet, when these parents who have kids, who choose to have kids, they don't bother to sit down when there's opportunity to really talk to them and connect with them. And then these kids grow up being connected to technology, to games. Again, there's nothing wrong with games, but when parents allow this to happen, these kids will grow up very, very dysfunctional. And guess who has to pick up the pieces? Jialat, man. Okay, now I'm gonna throw a curveball. John, do you remember when you were in class, what happened in my homeroom? Walao,
No.
Jialat. I know it's like more than 10 years ago.
You
Okay.
raise your hand, then everybody raise their hand and then keep quiet, is it?
I'm talking about games, lah. Hello. I'm talking about games. What do I have in the homeroom?
Did you have an Xbox?
I had 3 PS, PlayStation, 3 television, and all these are donated by the students themselves. Remember? Hey, will I get in trouble saying this? It was approved by authorities, right? Remember, these were all donated by students. So we set up 3 consoles, and okay, what's my objective? Basically, I told the kids, once you finish your schoolwork or classwork, you can go play on the console for 5 minutes. Yeah. So, of course, it makes me kind of cool a teacher, but that was not my objective, because I recognize that the kids are addicted to games anyway. So you either jump into the culture or you demonize it, correct or not? So I don't believe in demonizing, because I was playing like PS3 a bit here and there as well, Xbox. So I decided to just sort of tell them through this modeling that, hey, you got to finish your work first before you game. And there's got to be this disproportionate balance. Yeah, it's got to be a very disproportionate balance. You spend like 2 hours on your homework, you play only for 10 minutes or half an hour. I mean, actually only 5 minutes, and it has to be disproportionate, because if you play 5 hours, you game for 5 hours, and you study for 5 hours, which never happens to kids anyway, you will go crazy. You tend not to socialize. You will suffer from mental health issues, which is like very revealing nowadays. Yeah. So I always think that the adults need to model some kind of moderation. Sorry. Yeah. Some kind of boundaries for the kids. If the adults do not model these boundaries, right? Role model setting boundaries, I think gaming will definitely go out of control. Yeah. So I recognize esports. I think it's really good, because let's face it, not all kids are meant to study. They may not all kids can excel academically, right? And who disagree here? Put out a hand. Yeah. So okay, what are your thoughts at this point? Yeah. Mr. Faceless,
Oh,
has
me?
your eyeball dropped out yet?
I agree lah. It is. I think the main issue here is the parents and the adults, I think it's very important that we educate our youth on how do we not, you know, be too obsessed or be addicted to gaming, but how are we able to really let gaming be that avenue of release for us? Because I think most of us, okay, for me, I grew up having games as a source of comfort because I was the only child, right? So gaming provided me a lot of space and shelter lah. And you can't take that away because games are created to have storylines, and some of these storylines are really magnificent.
Yeah, we're going to that soon. Yeah.
So it's a different medium of art, I would say, and it's storytelling in a gaming format. Even your games itself, there are story-driven games. Some of these games that are recent are actually really creative lah, and it's not just the gaming itself, but are we able to educate these kids to let them know that, hey, do you enjoy playing such games? Do you want to create such games? There's actually an industry for you to work towards.
Precisely. Yeah.
So alternative pathways lah. Ultimately.
Yeah. And Lucas Arts games are here. It's here, right? Based in Singapore. Tencent is based in Singapore already, right? What have you? What's that? TikTok. TikTok has its Southeast Asian base here as well, right?
Yeah, there's quite a few companies in here lah. I mean, Ubisoft is here. Riot Games, their C headquarters is here.
Yeah.
A
lot of their Impact headquarters are here.
Yeah.
All these gaming big names. And there are many positive lessons you can learn from gaming. I remember my favorite PS3 game or PS4 game is Last of Us. And Wenceslaus was mentioned. Last of Us, right? Is it Last of Us?
That was so good.
Have you all played it before? Ash and John? Wow, that's like beautiful storytelling. I cried when during the game. It was so moving. Yeah, and I mean, like, I've never like wept in a game before. I love watching TV series and movies, but this game really moves me. The storytelling is so good, and they say about kids learn to become a better team player. They learn to organize. They learn to strategize in games. They learn to share. Right? Right? I think these are very positive benefits if we restrict the gaming hours. Yeah. And what else? Ash, any final words? We're approaching our time.
I'm pretty much agreeable with what you guys said lah. I do think there might be an exception to it in terms of if, let's say, your child is really, really, I don't know if this is a logical standpoint, but if your child is really, really good at gaming, right?
Yeah.
And it's like legendary at it, what's the reasoning for stopping the child though? If, let's say, that's really where he excels lah. So I think there's also,
you brought a very good point. Continue.
Yeah, there's also importance to realizing that on the other end of it, like, okay lah, if we coming from my experience, like as a creative person, as a designer, right? I mean, my parents didn't stop me from doing any creative things, but I know a lot of creatives that, especially in the Singapore perspective of things, creative jobs will not get you anywhere, will not get you anywhere. Though I'm good at it, but to the typical parent, it'll be like, no, go and do like something like money lah. So in the same way, I think it applies to gaming as well. If your kid is really good at it, then you should be able to find avenues where you allow them to excel in it, and to ensure that you're supportive of that also, and not just see it as, oh, you're just gaming for this certain period of time, and then that's it. But there must be a valuation to whether if they're doing it for like recreational purpose and it helps them escape, or helps them calm themselves down after like a very long day, stress and everything, then I think that's also fair. Like you say lah, of course you shouldn't be gaming for like an entire day. There's no mindless activity to it lah. Yeah. But there's also a value to excelling at it, I feel.
Okay, since you brought it up, right? Good point. Would you allow your kid to make a career out of gaming? Okay, let's say that your kid at after O levels or during O levels say, I don't think I can make it for O levels. Would you allow your say, yeah, I wanna do something. I want to develop games. I wanna drop out of school and learn how to, I don't know, code and make games. John, you first.
I think
Would
I'll
you
be
allow
fine
your
with it.
kid? Huh?
Yeah, I think I'll be fine with it.
No degree?
Like, the degree is fine. I put it this way lah. Like when I graduated from poly, I initially didn't want to go to university. I wanted to continue working. I was doing a part time in the F&B industry, like doing like waitering. And then I actually wanted to continue in the F&B industry because I really enjoyed it. But my mom was like, if you have no degree in today's society, you're dead. So I was sort of forced to go for a degree, and then after
And in
that,
Korea.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
So in the end, I realized that it is not such a bad thing to not have a degree as long as someone has passion in what they want to pursue. I think that,
But
mm,
a career in gaming.
yeah, if let's say my child has a passion in that, and then they will work hard to excel in it, then I would be fine letting them do it. Like I've got a lot of friends who they ended up going to study or doing what their parents asked them to do, and then they're in a job where they just hate life,
Mm.
and they're just like, just making money every day, but they don't see an enjoyment to what they are doing. So I would prefer my kid to do something that they enjoy, even if it's not something that is socially recognized as the right thing to do.
Mm.
Yeah.
Rents?
I actually listened to a few competitive players and I asked them that question. Surprisingly, all of them had this common answer where they'll tell the kid, no, you're not going to pursue a career in gaming. And the reasoning is this:
Why?
if you tell the kid that, hey, I'm not going to allow you to continue a career in gaming, and the kid rebels and continues to, that is the kind of attitude that would succeed in having a gaming career. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Reverse
that is
psychology.
how difficult it is to succeed in a gaming career. Because if you go into the game design, they actually don't get paid a lot also. Same as all the creatives, right? Most of the creatives are like that also, right? And for the competitive gamers, you have to be that 0.01% in a word in a game that actually has viewership and all these additional factors for you to be picked up by a team and to actually have people to support you. Your top gamer in Singapore, for example, Xian, who is the top Street Fighter world champion,
Right.
he came from a family that is living in those rented apartments, if I remember correctly. I'm not very sure.
Right.
He's not very well to do, but if you look at his journey, he played so well that the people in the arcade actually paid for him to continue playing and supported him. So if you're just looking at the financial and monetary sense, unless you can afford it, go ahead. If you can't afford it, get a job. You gotta be practical about things lah. It's same as sports,
Okay,
right?
okay.
If you talk about
Right.
esports and talk about sports, look at our
Oh.
athletes. How many of our athletes in Singapore are from middle income to lower income families? And we talk about the government actually giving up funds and stuff like that. It's just the environment needs to be there for you, the opportunity. There's too many factors lah. It's not easy.
Okay. Ash?
What Wen said is very true. Coming
Would
from a
you
person
would
that-
you encourage your child to make
I would
gaming
encourage
a
my
career?
child with exactly what he said, which
Okay.
is you go and fend for yourself.
Right.
As in, I won't
Right.
tell my child like no lah. I won't be like
Yeah.
you can't game that, wait for them to go and fight back and then
Right.
give him lah. But I'll tell them you have to fend for yourself. Like if you really want to go into gaming, you make sure you are able to sustain yourself
Right.
first. And then you tell me you really want to pursue it and you make it right, then by all means I'm gonna support you, but I'm not gonna like babysit you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to unpack what two of you said. You have actually exemplified the typical Singaporean like mentality. You cannot pursue a career that will fail. Right? You can only compete to win. Compete to compete. compete to win like the top 3 position. What if we just want to game as a career and we don't want to really compete internationally? You know, we just want to enjoy the process of competitions. Even if we lose, we lose. You know what I mean? So I think if I had kids, right, I would encourage them to pursue their passions. Yeah, I would really encourage them to pursue their passions. But I would want, like what John says, I want them to work in F&B for a period of their time. I mean, during their school holidays, so they know the value of hard work. If they want to game, right? If you want to earn money to game, yep, go and work for it. Don't ask me for pocket money to game. Yeah. So this is me setting a boundaries, because I feel that our kids in Singapore, right? I think this value of working to serve others in F&B has been totally lost since my generation, or maybe even younger generations than me lah. And we've become so entitled and so privileged. We're served hand to foot, hand to mouth. Everything is given to us. So we don't appreciate money for what it's worth. When we want to game, we demand. Well, sorry, I sound like an old man. But I have like revolutionized my mindset in a sense. If you want to make a career out of gaming, you want to work for LucasArts, you want to work for Tencent, you know, go ahead. But you got to pay your I mean, you gotta start working for the money.
Exactly.
You know, I can support your degree. I mean, if you want to study a gaming degree, I can pay for you, but you got to do this little work along the way. And to me, I believe in moderation. I don't think you should give kids a handphone, for example, at such a young age, or to become a easy babysitter, because, oh man, it's not the right way to go, man. And China, so now back to China. China imposing restrictions on young kids. I think we need to look deeper. This is just the tip of the iceberg. What's under the surface of the sea? It's the huge problem, that's like bubbling all over the world. And it may not be a problem. It could be something good, like esports, the rise of esports. That we are bombarded by e-gaming in all platforms, in all walks of life. And even now, buying grocery, they add in a little bit of games here and there, right, to entice you to buy this voucher, and then you gamble here and there, and then you win this another voucher to buy more. And that's gaming for you, right? It's in the spirit of gaming. Okay, so let's wrap up. One final thought, Wentz. Just a statement or two.
Oh.
I would date a girl who games, only get girl who games, for example. Girls who don't game, forget it. Something as wild as that.
There's
Don't
nothing
you think so
wrong.
hard, lah?
There's nothing wrong pursuing gaming, lah. Yeah. Yeah.
John.
I think everything in moderation. To some people, playing many hours could be too much, but to some people it could be just okay or just nice. So I think moderation as to that person.
Ash.
I think if you have a passion for it, I don't see any issue with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even in very pragmatic Singapore?
I think it goes to the same way lah. So like, coming from a realm of Singapore that is probably very frowned upon, very much so. As Wen said, creatives are always paid the poorest, or sometimes not even paid lah. But if you really have a passion for it, right, you're gonna find ways to make it work. Ultimately, you're gonna find a way to pursue it, or find a way to make it your career, as you said. Whether it's joining competitions or just enjoying the process of it, or winning it, whichever part of it, if that's truly your route that you choose, right, you're gonna find a way to do it lah. So yeah.
In the same spirit, I think the kids in China will find creative means to skirt around the system.
Oh, they already have. It's in the article.
Yeah. No. I think these creative means will further exponentially develop themselves, and China will just be slapping itself in the face. Okay, I mean, I really salute the government for being so draconian because the parents are failing in their jobs, right? I think that's a big example out there because it's happening everywhere. And most parents here cannot control their kids when it comes to gaming. So I think it's gaming. Again, I want to say gaming is not evil. I think some level of gaming is good. It's therapeutic. It teaches a lot of life skills in moderation. It is You can make a living out of gaming, but you don't necessarily have to win. I think it can be a very nice leisure. I don't think we should ban this, ban that in gaming because I think what China is doing is very extreme. As always lah. Um, yep. Oh, sorry, I made more than one statement. Okay, hey, thanks guys. Thanks John for
Thanks.
joining us. I know
Thanks
this
for
topic is
having.
that we are all over the shop, but at the end of the day, yep. Hey, Wens,
Yeah.
when are you taking off the bandages off your nose?
I don't know.
Which plastic surgeon can you recommend?
Or I also don't know.
Okay. Okay, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing this. It's 9 o'clock. Good
Oh,
night.
wait, do I record?
Take care.
I end the recording now. Yeah. Have you
Huh?
said good? Have you said goodbye to the audience?
Yeah, go.
No, as in okay.